result-wise, I'm not really that concerned about, but I just like to pick a few points up on Mark Proctor. It seems to be like, I think I'm just trying too hard, and it seems to be every round we go to I'm having good times and everything, but it just seems to be 10, 15 points, 20 points each round, and it's just slowly pulling away. I could just do with reversing it and gaining a few on him. My positions don't really, obviously I'll be trying to win, but my positions don't really concern me. It's more concerning that he does worse than me, really.
Mark will start from row 8. Is that bad news for his continuing championship success?
Bad news in the respect that I think I've got Shane Bland and Paul Sheard right behind me, which I could have done without, but I mean, you can't, you know, it's the balls you pull out of the bag, and it's look at the draw.
Well, that look of the draw sees the whole field of Eurocar V6s with their 2.9 litre engines making their way towards the start line. Tony Paxman and Phil Woodhull are on the front row. Steve Dance and Ian Kirk behind them on the second row as we get away with the lights going green. And we're on board with Paul Lee back on the inside of the fourth row of the grid, and look at the wall of metal he's facing as they hammer down into the first corner here at Croft. Clervaux, there is Lee in the 96 car. He's got Peter Folding, one of the championship aspirants, behind him, but look at the ground Lee's made up. He bounces across the curve. He's already passed Ian Kirk, the rest of the field shuffling their way through, and there in the 70 car, Cliff Butler. He's got Mark Proctor in the Arco car right behind him. Proctor, of course, remember, the championship leader, and really looking for a strong finish here today as they scramble their way through. Proctor picks up a place. He goes ahead of Cliff Butler, but back here, oh, and Folding to the inside of Lee. Great manoeuvre there by Peter Folding, the Rotherham-based driver. Had such a cracking season so far this year, but out front, Steve Dance is stretching his legs as Lee, look at him there, left foot braking, heeling and towing. Or rather right foot braking, but using the heel of his right foot to just blip that throttle to help balance the revs. Again, hard on the brakes. Oh, terrific bit of manoeuvring there by Lee. He's picked up 2 places. Stunning stuff by him as Mike Schmidt goes through. Shane Bland there is in the turquoise car. That's the 42 car. But look at this lead by Steve Dance already. Great scrap going on for second place. Tony Paxman holds that at the moment, the winner at Brands Hatch earlier this year. There is Ian Kirk, a mover from Legends last year. We've seen the Legends already here at Croft. They were spectacular, and so too, I'm sure, these excellent V6 Chargers with their 235 brake horsepower, or thereabouts. Here they come down towards us. This is the scrap for lower places, but we're going through. Mike Doble there, just a little bit smoky. In front of him is John Haffey. Well, they all make it round there that time without too many problems, but Lee will go to the inside of Folding, and Lee picks up the place from Pete Folding in exactly the same way he moved up last time. So clearly Paul Lee enjoying it there at the chicane. Back on board with him, but Folding fights back up the inside at Tower. So Folding leans over, he's up back now ahead of Paul Lee, but Steve Dance continuing his break away at the front of the field. But this is a cracking scrap going on for second place. Oh, and there's been some incident there. Pete Folding has had bodywork damage to the rear of his car. Now, while Paul Lee's been charging hard, and Lee will look to the inside. No, not quite close enough this time through. Folding takes a huge amount of curves, bounces across there, and back towards as they come. Well, further down the field, Proctor and Sheard are absolutely fighting it out. So too there. Tony Paxman we just saw a quick glimpse of. But here lower down the field, there's Warren Salter in the 99 car. Cliff Butler swarming all over the rear of him. And still up ahead for this second position, Paul Lee and Peter Folding. John Haffey now up to 4th place, and Rick Lemon looks to go through into 5th. So Lemon moves ahead of Mike Doble, a winner at Pembrey earlier on in the year in South Wales in one of the early rounds. Oh, and an error there from Warren Salter. Oh, my word. Salter got it all out of shape. And Ian Kirk, well, hands up in the air. Absolutely devastated by that. Let's just hope that Warren Salter's all right as we watch Paul Shear go through. Marshall's to the rescue. Ian Kirk is furious with that. Had absolutely nowhere to go. Oh, my word. Well, Ian Kirk there, a lot to think about. Meantime, they're still fighting it out for second place. Lee and Folding. John Haffey there still 4th. Rick Lemon still in 5th. Mike Doble still there in 6th place. That's the top 6. Further down the field there is Mark Loveland going through, along with Andy Pike in the 73 car. But towards us, this great scrap going on for second place. Again at the first corner, and Lee is on the inside this time, and Folding runs on onto the grass. Oh, well, onto the gravel anyway. Poor old Pete Folding had nowhere to go, out wide, and that dumps him back down the order. John Haffey picks up a place from that, but I think he's also picked up a problem because there is smoke coming from the back end of that car. But here's a terrific battle going on. Shane Bland, the young rookie of the year, we heard from him earlier on, fighting it out with Mark Proctor. But there, as they pass the wreck of Ian Kirk and Warren Salter's machines, and come round to complete another lap. Paul Sheard in that 18 car, the Team Brass car, has been inching closer and closer. Here's our race leader though, Steve Dance in the 16 car out front. And Rick Lemon looks to the inside of John Haffey, and Rick Lemon will look to go up to third place. Ooh, well, he wasn't quite close enough, was he, under braking? There's a nice long straight here at Croft, and if you can get the momentum, as Shane Bland has got on Mark Proctor, so the second place man in the championship, under attack from the youngster. Ooh, ho, ho. Shane Bland got really close there, didn't he? He's got the inside line though, this time he's up over the curve. Oh, contact! Proctor is putting a spin. Well, goodness me, Shane Bland looked to have the inside line there. Mark Proctor may well see it differently, but, well, we'll leave them to sort out that scrap. And what's the problem with Paul Lee in second place? Look at that, he's no power. He's passed by John Haffey. Well, electrical problem looks to be the situation there for Paul Lee. Will he dive into the pits this time, I wonder? Or will he stay out? Let's just have a look while that sorts itself out. Here is Ian Kirk. How on earth that happened? Goodness only knows. But Warren Salter spun it around. Ian Kirk up onto the boot of that car. And there is action, action, action all the way here with the Eurocar V6s up in the northeast at Croft. And Pete Faulding trying to get back on terms. As is that John Haffey runs out wide. No, it's not. Back marker. Or was it indeed Haffey? No, Haffey runs through slowly there. Let's just pick this up. So there is Rick Lemon in second. Pete Faulding there back to third place. Paul Sheard now has come storming through the field. Sheard, remember, started on the penultimate row of the grid, and with 10 rows out there, that makes it the 9th row he started from. He's made his way through in brilliant fashion. There is Rick Lemon though, occupying second place, Faulding behind him in third on the track, but remember, Faulding second in the championship at the moment. Paul Sheard, incidentally, up behind him there in the 18 car, lying third in the championship. It's young Shane Bland in the 42 car, who lies down there in fourth place in the championship. Great scrap going on here. Rick Lemon defending for all he's worth from Pete Faulding. Oh, Faulding locks the wheel there as Sheard tries to go through, and Andy Pike loses it in the gravel. Oh my word. Well, while he sorts it out, let's hear from Paul Lee in the pit lane.
Well, I don't know what the problem is, just cut out. I don't know, he went on to about 3 cylinders and just cut out or coast in the pit lane. But if that's not disappointment, I don't know what is, because that's about as far as I can go this year with this. This is getting a bit ridiculous.
Well, Paul Lee is clearly feeling the frustration and the disappointment. Steve Dance, meanwhile, though, is on to his final closing stages of this race, but there's still this fantastic scrap going on between Peter Faulding in third place and there Paul Sheard in the yellow and blue Team Brass car in fourth. The booth car there of Faulding dancing across the curbs, just trying to keep his line as best he can, though. Sheard moves to the outside. Meantime, though, while they fight it out for second, third and fourth, Steve Dance is on his way towards the checkered flag. It's already in hand. Here is Steve Dance. Been a copybook race from him. Ooh, Tony Paxman gets a little bit loose in front of him, but here comes Dancey to take the checkered flag and the 200 points that go with the victory. That's terrific performance by him. Who's going to get to the line now? Is it going to be Rick Lemon, Peter Faulding or Paul Sheard? It's going to be Lemon who'll take second place. Faulding takes third, Paul Sheard in fourth place, but terrific drive from Steve Dance. And, well, he's clearly delighted with that. Question is, was it an easy win?
I must admit it's a nice way to win. We'll just see what happens in the next one. You know, be a little bit harder in the next one. We're starting at the back, so we'll just see how we can go in that one.
Well, Mark Proctor returns. All looked very, very lively out there for him.
Yeah, very lively. Not very happy with Shane's manoeuvre down at the bottom. I mean, I had the race in line. He just took me straight out. 8th place, apparently, which isn't bad, I suppose. It's 100 points piece. I understand at the 3rd place, so he's getting 55 points back, but we're nearer the front the next time. But yeah, that's a shame, is that. What more can you say?
Well, Mark has another chance, and we'll bring you a cracking V6 race, I'm sure. That comes up right after this break.
When all's going well, life's a joy. When it's going against you, life's a big...
Roy Hodgson is livid.
After last season's 4-1 drubbing.
Oh, what a start! It's another goal. Arsenal's third. 4-0 up.
Blackburn know revenge would be sweet. Ford Super Sunday, Blackburn v Arsenal, Sunday at 3, Sky Sports 1. Linesman beware.
Physio-Sport Grip, part of a new body care range for sportsmen and women. Developed with sports scientists and the International Olympic Committee. Track tested by Olympic athletes from around the world. New Physio-Sport, part of the ritual.
OK, how does Billy get his plate on the table and still find out what's on telly? He's surrounded by TV mags, satellite magazines, newspapers and freebies, and none of them tell him everything he wants to know. If he could get all the best bits together, he could have his tea. TV and Satellite Week is the answer. Loads of info on over 90 channels from BBC, ITV to satellite and cable. It's weekly and bang up to date. So TV and Satellite Week leaves room for Billy's plate and his lucky aardvark. Easy peasy.
Well, you can tell by the way that I made a pork. I'm not a Coleman's fan, I think we should talk. I'm a walking pie, a sausage roll, a Scottish egg. For all I know, it's not all right, it's not okay. I'd like to see another day. You should try to understand. This Coleman's mustard must be banned. I have to tell you, brother, it really is a bother just staying alive, staying alive. I'm really in a frizzling mace to be bacon sizzle, just staying alive. Staying alive.
Coleman's English Mustard, the #1 hit.
Oh, very big and funny.
Morning, Leonardo. So what on earth are you drawing now?
Glad you asked. This is the plan for my latest invention, a flying machine.
What? That's a flying machine? Well, how's it going to work? It hasn't got any wings.
No, you don't understand. This is a tin can. The flying machine is a drink inside, and it's called Red Bull.
A flying bull you can drink? Trust me, Leonardo. This idea will never get off the ground.
But Red Bull is stimulation for body and mind. Look, Red Bull gives you wings.
Leonardo always flying off the handle.
Coming up next, a cracking performance. Polycell Light and Easy Filler. It only takes 2 ticks.
He's the master of disguise.
Who are you?
No one has a clue, least of all me.
Of illusion.
I've been chasing him for nearly 2 years. What's this game?
Of seduction.
Tell me you love me.
Of intrigue.
I'm a thief.
Sinner and savior.
I need a miracle.
Which is the true face of the saint?
I want you to know who I am.
Val Kilmer, the first showing of The Saint at 10 Saturday on Sky Premiere.
Well, the second V6 race today caused all sorts of dramas and problems as the field made their way. As the lights went to green down to the first corner, Paul Sheart led them through. But watch behind, Chris Ayling, Mark Proctor and Julian Arnold all get in a right old mess. And we end up with a huge number of cars in the big beach at Clervaux, including there in the 73 car, Andy Pike, Rick Lemon, Julian Arnold, Chris Ayling and Cliff Butler. Well, despite the great efforts on the part of the marshals, the red flags came out. And it gives us a chance to have a look at what Paul Lee's view of the situation was. Mark Proctor up ahead, you see the track just closes up, everybody with nowhere to go. And Lee makes the best of his opportunity, trying to get to the inside of Proctor. At the restart, as the lights went green, Paul Sheart making a terrific start from the inside of the second row. He managed to squeeze up, through and beyond past Julian Arnold. Shane Bland did his best to try and slot through also, but he had to drop into third place. And again, there was bumping and boring all over the curbs, including in the 36 car, Peter Falding. Remember, he finished third in that first race. Paul Lee was back after maintaining and repairing his car from that electrical problem, and again using all of his skill to get through and beyond past Cliff Butler at the chicane. Made good progress up to Tower and dived to the inside of Andy Pike. Pike was one of those, of course, clearly glad to have been able to get his car out of the gravel. Mike Schmidt proved a huge obstacle for Lee for a period of time, but this contact at the chicane allowed Pete Falding to close up behind, and Lee was through. On lap 4, with Lee now in fourth place, up ahead of it was Mark Proctor in third, Falding now fifth, and closing on Mike Schmidt, who had a big drama and was forced to retire. On lap 8, Sheard was still managing to hold off the young Shane Bland, but behind, Mark Proctor's day was about to go from bad to worse. His gearbox exploded and the championship leader was forced to tour round. He somehow, though, managed to grab fourth gear and continued. On lap 11, Pete Folding led Rick Lemon at Clervaux. Through the chicane they went and up towards Tower, where behind Steve Dance, having started back in 18th and taken that inaugural win, passed Cliff Butler on the outside to go 6th, completing a move which took over half a lap. Butler, though, wasn't giving up. He was fighting back, and up ahead, Pete Folding was still in the wheel tracks of Rick Lemon. On the run down to Clervaux, he had a look to the inside, but Lemon protected the move. Behind, you've guessed it, Steve Dance still fighting it out with Cliff Butler. Next time round at the same point, it was Lemon to the inside of Folding. Steve Dance now having disposed of Cliff Butler, and all of that nearly ran Pete Folding out wide. Lemon, though, fought back manfully on the inside, but the chicane had to give second best to Folding. Folding, of course, was delighting in the fact that his championship rival and the championship leader when they arrived here at Croft had his mechanical dramas. But he didn't seem to have reckoned on the high contest he was receiving from Rick Lemon in 25, Steve Dance, and now Cliff Butler, who'd recovered and was having a cracking drive, almost his best of the season to date. As they came out of turn 4, Rick Lemon ran it wide. Steve Dance tried to seize the opportunity down the inside, but a very determined Lemon fought back as they crossed the line and didn't lose the place. He locked the wheel, though, into Clervaux, and Dance pounced, almost receiving Cliff Butler into the rear of his car. The two of them deciding to seize the opportunity and drive on through, Lemon losing 2 places as they approached the chicane. Up ahead, race leader Paul Sheard was still building his advantage, and despite all his efforts, Shane Bland in the 42 car couldn't get on terms. Sheard it was, though, who powered his way out of the line to take the checkered flag, and more importantly for him, the 200 points that go with it. Mark Proctor, going through the bottom of the picture, still managed to hang on and pick up some points, which may well prove to be vital come the end of the year, but the victory was Paul Sheard's. And that battle between Folding, Butler and Dance, well, Folding took the honours there, but Cliff Butler celebrated a terrific performance by him. Shane Bland increased his points position, but what about poor Mark Proctor?
This championship's all about reliability. You can't afford I did not finish. I was fortunate enough when I slowed down here to manage to get it jammed back in 4th gear and finish the race. So what could have been an unfinished with 10 points might be, I don't know where I finished, it might be 70 points, which at the end of the season might just count.
Peter Foley's performance overall moves him to the top of the championship standings, but it's Paul Sheard who takes a well-earned victory overall. Steve Dance takes 2nd, with Shane Bland confirmed in 3rd place. There is Folding in 4th, with Lemon and Butler 5th and 6th respectively. As far as the championship is concerned, there is confirmation. Pete Folding now leads Mark Proctor by the slimmest of margins, just 30 points, with Sheard establishing himself in 3rd place overall. Well, before we leave the Eurocar V6s at Croft, let's enjoy some of the highlights of a terrific day's motorsport.
Now. Hess will watch that one go wide, but it was a mini scare for Barcelona, who have 15 minutes to